Welcome to Awakening to Your Story TV, the place to learn, get inspired, and be supported with heart centered solutions for your everyday life. I'm your host, Alicia Hartz, and today we are going to be talking about the map to your emotional heart. Now, this is something that I am very excited about. I have been helping people map out their hearts for years, and it came into being because I'm a very visual learner. And so, as I was on kind of my own healing journey for myself, this is how I did it. I actually doodled in books and needed a way to really look at all of the things that were going on in my life, the things I was reacting to, the things that I was feeling, the things that I felt I knew to be true. And it kind of morphed into this really beautiful thing that we're going to look at today. Now, all of those reactions that you have, all of those things cause stress, anxiety, fear, any of those negative emotions that we often run away from. One of the great things about using the emotional map of your heart is that it gives those things purpose. So often those things run amok in our mind, and when we can lay it out on a piece of paper and we can start to see that they are really there to serve us in our lives, we get a lot of power back in our story, right? So let's get started. I'm going to be using some handy visual aids today. I know this is very low tech, but stick with me, okay? So this is you and your emotional heart. Now, let me say first that all of this is on the blog. You can find the link below in the description of the video. And I'm also going to be referencing some other videos as we go through, and they will be below and up in the corner as well. Okay, so this is you. This is your emotional heart. And what is really valuable for you to understand is that you came into this world a completely unique expression, right? This truth about who you are is really valuable and important for you to understand. The fact that you are the only you this world will ever know is huge, right? You came in complete. There's nothing lacking within you. Sure, there's things to learn and things to create and things to experience in your life, but you yourself are whole. You are worthy. You are significant. You are valuable as you are, right? And so often we get off track because of our human experience, right? We get off track thinking that we have to work to be worthy, that we have to do things to be valuable. But it's not true. Your divinity wove all of that right into your humanity, and you are whole as you are. And you are the only you that can take up the seat at the table of humanity that you have. You are the only one who can sit in that spot. It's solely yours. And there is worth and value and significance in that, right? So that's the powerful place I want you to start. And I'm going to reference here the video about point of reference because I think this will really help you fortify this idea. Now, our next figure is your essential truth. Now, these are the things that were woven right into your humanity, right? These are the things that you don't have to work to have within you. They were woven right into your humanity by that divinity, right? The fact that you are worthy and significant and valued, the fact that you are whole, the fact that you are loved and loved, the fact that you are part of something bigger than this yourself, the fact that you are strong and curious and courageous, right? Now, sometimes we have to work on fortifying these things, right? Because our human experience comes in and we forget about it. It masks it or it tries to hinder that full expression of it. But these essential truths will always echo back to you. Have you ever had one of those moments where you really believe something about yourself, but then you have thoughts that tell you that it's not true? The fact that you really believe it is because it is deeply embedded into every cell of who you are, right? So these essential truths are really valuable and really, really important to think about and to focus on as much as possible, right? So I said a few: strong, connected, full of life, fully supported, enthusiastic, joyful, powerful, right? This is all part of who you are fundamentally. Okay. So these are your essential truths. Now, the next thing we're going to look at are the limiting beliefs. And these are the things that sneak in and limit that capacity of heart you have to fully express and believe and think about those essential truths, right? Now, limiting beliefs can sneak in all sorts of ways. They can come in when some adult, parent, person, teacher tells you you are supposed to be something, even when you feel deep within yourself that you're not, right? Like, be still, be small, fit into a box, right? Or they tell you that you can't, or they tell you that you're not enough, or they tell you on and on and on, right? These are the limiting beliefs that we slowly, time after time, adopt. They can come in really loud all at once, or they can come in by these small ideas that chip away at who we really are, at what is possible, right? They slowly start to restrict that power you have to be fully who you are. They start to limit your access to these essential truths, right? And before you know it, we start living through these ideas that are limiting, right? Now, I want you to really understand that you have a choice in what you believe, because these are beliefs, right? We start to believe them and adopt them and think that they're true. But a belief is just a thought that you think that you believe, right? So you have power and autonomy over what you believe. The problem is that often they become unchecked. We don't question them. We don't look at them. We don't analyze them. We don't question to see if they're true. We just live our lives according to those patterns of thought, right? Okay. Now, the next one is your brain. Now, I know it is not exactly part of your heart, but there are two parts of your brain that are really, really, really important and valuable when we're looking at your emotional heart space, right? The two parts of your brain that we're going to talk about are your amygdala and your prefrontal cortex. Now, your amygdala is that fight, flight, or freeze part of your brain. It is like the security system of your mind. It is working constantly to make sure that you're safe, emotionally safe, physically safe, right? Now, unfortunately, when this part of your brain is left unchecked and you are feeling like you have these limiting beliefs that are keeping you in a state of survival, that amygdala, what it does is it scans, right? It scans for all the things that are going wrong. And it does this because it wants to make sure that you can stay safe. So we have this negative bias where we are constantly scanning to see what is wrong. Now, here's the thing. Unchecked, that keeps you in a cycle and a loop of survival and of feeling crappy and of being focused on the suffering and what's going wrong, right? But your prefrontal cortex, which is the other part that we're going to talk about, is this really powerful part of your brain that is linked to all your higher level thinking, to problem solving, to creativity, to putting all the pieces together. This is that powerhouse decision-making part of your brain that is super pivotal in the ability to really express yourself from a place of possibility, right? Now, we can create a positive bias where we utilize this part of our brain to scan for all the things that are right, all the things that are working, all the things that are possible. And this is where you are going to be solution oriented. This is where you're going to find answers. This is where you're going to have creative thought that leads to creative action, right? This part of your brain is associated with that essential truth, those things that are woven deep within you, okay? So you have both of these parts of your brain working for you, but you have to realize that your brain is a tool that you use. It's not something that is just there to direct you. You have to step into this relationship with your mind, right? And that's why it's so important to utilize it on the map of your heart. Now, I'm also going to reference in this the videos that I'm going to be referencing. There is a great video about negative bias and positive bias and the power of your mind. So go watch that as well. Add that to your list of videos to check out. Okay, now the next thing that we're going to look at is your patterns of thinking. Now, patterns of thought are really valuable, and it's really how the relationship from your mind to your heart gets set. Okay. Now, remember, your brain is a tool that is designed to help you, but you have power over it, right? And this is where metacognition comes in. This is where metacognition is the ability to witness thoughts, right? You have the power to witness your thoughts and adjust accordingly. If you have a thought that doesn't feel good, that is associated with your amygdala or with a limiting belief, you have the power to witness it and then go, I don't like it. And we figure it out and shift into that prefrontal cortex and find something that is more aligned with that essential truth, right? Now, amygdala patterns of thought activate those limiting beliefs. They keep you focused on what is wrong and feeling bad, and unchecked make you feel like you're living in a constant state of survival. Now, prefrontal cortex patterns of thinking are solution oriented. They keep you kind of coming back and questioning what's possible and a path out of where you are. They help you find a sense of feeling better in the experience, right? Again, I'm going to reference some more tools, one of which is the jellyfish beach, the emotional tool, the jellyfish beach, which will really help you understand patterns of thinking. Okay, now the next one is, this is where we kind of go deep, guys. The next one is information, right? Your reaction and information. So everything in your life, everything in the world outside of you reflects back to you what is already going on in this emotional heart, right? Sometimes it reflects back to the essential truth and you see it and it feels good and you recognize it. And sometimes it reflects back your limiting beliefs and it doesn't feel so good, right? So you have information that comes into your life, comes in, bumps up against that limiting belief, and you react to it, right? In that process, you're going to be set on a path of thinking. In that process, you're going to not feel good. We react to things that feel negative in our life all the time. And this is what sets this heart map apart from just living and reacting to your life, right? When you are living your life and you react to somebody, whether it's a friend or a teacher or a boss or a lover or a parent or whoever it is in your life, if you are reacting to them and it doesn't feel good, you have the power to shift. You have the power to figure out what is going on within your heart. But often we don't take that power. What we do instead is we feel the reaction, we follow the reaction to the end of where it is, which is more suffering, and we think that we're stuck there. We focus on the other person and we keep talking about how the other person has done something wrong. We keep talking about how we don't feel good. And it's a closed loop of suffering. There is no out there, right? You're never going to feel better focused there. But if you see that information, that person, that experience as information designed to help you shift that limiting belief, then you're set on a path of possibility, right? That reaction that you're having, whether it's small or large, that reaction is designed to give you language, to help you illustrate that limiting belief that isn't serving you anymore, right? Now, I can go through endless examples. We process this all day, every day, right? But I want you to really think about the last thing you reacted to. And did you follow that reaction to that closed circuit suffering? Or did you think about the reaction from your own heart space, from your own heart map? What is it that is limiting you? What belief are you thinking that is limiting you? And what essential truth is trying to make its way out, right? Because if you go in and you start to shift one of these limiting beliefs, what that does is it allows your capacity of heart to broaden. And it allows that essential truth to be easier to reach for, right? Easier to live through, easier to believe, right? Okay, so the next thing that we're going to look at is volume, because when you are dealing with these kind of situations where you're reacting and the information is there, volume is always going to be working in your favor as well. Now, we've been there. We have the reaction. It's little. We don't pay attention. And then, interestingly enough, we end up in another situation where we keep telling ourselves in our mind the same things, right? This is called volume. You could end up in a situation where you have that same nagging, limiting belief calling at you because of that person or because of that situation, but it's getting louder and louder and louder. Now, the volume will get louder, your reaction will get louder, you may get more physical, you may get more agitated. Volume is designed to help you because let's be honest. We don't often want to do the emotional work unless we have to. Unless you're someone like me who's been doing it for a really long time and find joy and enthusiasm in figuring it out, right? That's what happens when you start to see all of these elements as neutral things that you get to figure out and evaluate and adjust so that you feel better. There's an enthusiasm that comes when bad stuff shows up. You're like, oh, wait a minute, this could be good. This could be good for me. But volume really allows you to focus. It allows you to step in and go, okay, I can't deny it anymore. It's time. It's so loud. This suffering is so loud. The way that I'm suffering is starting to become clear. The language around what I'm carrying is becoming more clear. And that volume and that reaction will help you define that limiting belief and help you start to create language and awareness, right? Being able to witness all of these things, not just following them down the path, but witnessing them and looking at them. That's powerful. That volume, that reaction, that newfound understanding for the language that you've been carrying around this limiting belief is powerful, right? Okay, so that's volume. And now we're going to talk about a way of healing. So this is where you actually start to use all of this stuff as an indicator to help you move forward on your path. It's where you start to go, okay, I'm tired of resisting. I'm tired of living through this suffering. And what I really want is to feel better. What I really want is to figure out this limiting belief and give it back, right? Here's the thing about limiting beliefs. Remember, people who hand them down to you are handing them down to you because they themselves are limited. It's not like somebody saying, "Oh, I'm limited and I want you to be limited too." That's not conscious awareness, right? What they're doing is their limiting beliefs tells them that some level of suffering is what they now believe, and so they think you now should believe it too, not because they're consciously trying to hand it to you, but because that's how they are reacting and interacting with life around you. So, what I want you to do is as you start to create a path of healing, you utilize this, you find the language of this limiting belief. And then what I want you to do is I want you to start to ask questions. I made a list you can find on the blog, but I'm going to read it here. Where did this limiting belief come from? Who passed it down to me? When did I adopt it into my belief system? Do I still need to carry it? What do I feel about it now? Is there something else I should believe instead, or that I want to believe instead? Is there something within my essential truth that I need to come back to, or that's calling me back? How would I rather feel? What would I rather think? What feels more like a thought that is actually authentically me, right? Now, our tendency is to make things about other people. So, as you're on this path of healing and as you're thinking about this limiting belief and who handed it down to you and how long it's been there and what you really want to think instead, I want you to remember that this healing journey, this map of your emotional heart, has nothing to do with anyone else but you. So don't make your healing process about them, that thing that handed you in that limiting belief. Don't make it about them. Make it about you, because it is about your heart and your story, your ability to create your own belief system, your power to take back your thoughts and your experiences, right? So make sure that as you're on this healing journey and as you're thinking about all these things, you are doing it for you, right? Because that's where the power is, in your heart and in your story. And when I say that in all my other videos, that's what I mean. This, right? Your heart and your story. Okay. Now, so often we get to this place and we think, okay, that's it. I'm here. I'm done. Awesome. I've found that path of thinking. I've found that belief that feels better, and that is all I need. I want to set you up to succeed. So I don't want to set you up to fail. And if you think that all you have to do is come to the awareness of it, then you're going to set yourself up to fail. And I don't want that. I want you to succeed in feeling better in your life and creating ownership for what is true within your heart. So that's what leads us to this next part. Oh, a way of repatterning your thoughts, right? So you've come to this, if you're working on this limiting belief and you're starting to shift it out of your situation and your thinking and your belief system, what you have to realize is you've walked a path to that new thought one time. And if that limiting belief has been there for any length of time, you've probably thought about it unconsciously time and time and time again, right? Maybe for years even. For people like me, it could be decades. I'm still shifting through limiting beliefs that I've carried for decades, right? So I created the analogy, the jellyfish beach, for this very reason, and it'll be in the resources below, as well as up here if you're on your computer. The jellyfish beach analogy goes like this. there is a beach associated with your limiting belief and your, amygdala, right? It is a path of thinking that leads to suffering. So that beach is filled with jellyfish and sharks, and there's no shade, and there's no sunscreen, and there's nothing to drink, and it's hot and it's miserable. Everything about it is miserable. And that's often what those limiting beliefs feel like, right? Misery, suffering, nothing good, right? And you have a grassy dune, and you've walked down that path of thinking so many times that the grass has worn away, and all you see is the sand, and it's a direct shot to that beach, right? That path of thinking leads you to the negative beach. Now, what you've done when you look at your map is you've created and foraged a new path, right? A new path of thought to what I like to call the pina colada beach. Now, for those of you who are not of age to drink, it's a virgin pina colada, right? This is the beach where there are palm trees and chase lounges and hammocks and sea turtles swimming in the clear water and pitchers of drinks that are refreshing, and you have everything that you need, right? This is that path associated with your prefrontal cortex, with your essential truth, everything that feels good and feels possible and is working in your favor. Now, here's the thing. You've walked down that path of thought one time. You foraged your way there. But when you're standing at the precipice, right, trying to reach for a thought, you're going to go to the one that feels second nature, which is the one that is the limiting belief path of thought, because you've done it so many times. The more you choose to walk down that jellyfish beach, that prefrontal cortex, that essential truth path of thought, the more you're going to wear down the grass, right? And the more often you take it, the more that grass is going to wear down, and the more the sand is going to come up, and the more it's going to start to become second nature. And in that, the grass will grow up on the limiting belief side, right? And so you will slowly start to repattern your thinking to that pina colada beach path of thought. This is a conscious decision, right? This is you becoming the advocate for your own thought. This is you having autonomy over what you think and feel, right? So this path of thought will whatever path of thought you choose will be associated with a limiting belief or an essential truth, and it will take you to a beach. One or the other. You get to choose, right? Now, the limiting belief path of thought is focused on them, is associated with the limiting belief, and helps you shrink down and feel more reactive. That's how you can feel and know that it's a limiting belief thought that is associated with that jellyfish beach. Now, the fortifying path of thought is focused on your own heart, is associated with your essential truth, and helps you become more of who you are, right? Again, all of this is on the blog. So what I really want you to walk away from is this idea and belief that you have autonomy over what is going on within you, and actually what is going on in the world around you. So that thing that's coming in that you don't feel like you have power over or power to control, you can't control them, the thing, but you can control how you use it, right? Don't just react to it. Use it to help you. Because the fuller expression of who you are, the better life is going to feel. The less limiting beliefs that are binding your human experience, the more fun you're going to be able to have. The more that you step into that place of power within yourself, the more you have the opportunity to have those dreams become reality. Because the dreams that you're dreaming of, whether it's the friends and the relationships that you want, or the things that you want to create, or the things that you want to do, or the places you want to go, all of those things, right? All of those things you're dreaming about are outside this limited capacity. Your dreams are outside that. And if you want to reach them, you've got to start to shift these things that are binding you so that your capacity can start to expand, so that you can encompass those dreams, right? It's all within your power. It's all within your ability. The jellyfish beach video will be up. Your point of reference video will be up. The information and volume video will be up. Start to focus on these details and these things and the power within you, right? I have a free starter kit on my website. It'll be linked below. It'll be linked everywhere. Go and download it. It has exercises that will help you walk through this heart map and exercises that will help you fortify your essential truth. All of this is well within your reach, right? So if you have questions, please put them in the comments. Please reach out to me. I'm here to help you in any way that I can. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to my channel, subscribe to my emails. And I want you to really know that until next time, I am holding a place of love for you, where your power to utilize your heart map, to read it, and to really find your full expression of self, well, it's undeniable.